Yeah, what's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Legends Talk, man. We here, we live, and we got a special treat for y'all, man. First of all, happy holidays to everybody, man. Everybody that celebrates Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, man. Have a happy holidays to you and your families, man. Tonight we have some special guests, man. And we making history. This is the first time in history that the Greer brothers, Jeff Greer and Ricardo Greer, are live on the same podcast, and they here with us, y'all. They came to bless us with their journey. You know what I'm saying? This is much awaited for a lot of people, and we're here. Shout out to everybody in Washington Heights, Dykeman, the whole nine, man. You know what I'm saying? And we here, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. You know what I'm saying? We as basketball fans of all ages, the kids, the grown-ups, welcome to Legends Talk, the live show where we sit down with these iconic figures in the world of basketball and we delve into their untold stories that have shaped their legendary careers. Join us as we give these legends their spotlight to share their experiences, their triumphs, and their challenges, all while offering a rare glimpse into the moments that made them the icons that they are. With no further ado, we bringing up you know who, man, the Greer Brothers, Legends Talk. D-Melo.
Yo, yo.
Yo, what's up, fellas? What's going on, man?
All love. How are you guys?
What's on here, man?
Everybody's
Appreciate you
great.
having us on here. Great to see my better half on the other side over there, enjoying some Las Vegas weather. Thank
Man,
you
this
guys.
gonna be
Appreciate
mad.
Nah, salute to you guys, man. Like I said before, man, this is the first, man, for the podcast situation. The first time Ricardo and Jeff Greer has been on the same podcast. So I appreciate you guys taking that and with my platform, and I'm very appreciated. Very appreciative of this opportunity, man.
Yeah, no, it's been long overdue, and I can speak for my brother when I say that we're very grateful for this opportunity to, share with the older guys that watched us play to the younger youth that have no idea what the Greer Brothers meant to Washington Heights, first and foremost. So, no, I appreciate you having us on.
Hey man, you guys did a lot for the basketball community, not only in New York City, man, but you took your show on the road, man. You got not only Dominican Republic, where you represented your country, but countries like France, Ukraine, Croatia, Great Britain, things like that. So, with no further ado, man, let's get right into it.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to DP Mike Jones, Dykeman Drew,
The mayor.
my man Manny Digital, dribbling dimes. Salute, man. But just assuming that Ricardo, you being the older brother here, you found, assuming that you found the game of basketball first, and Jeff kind of followed suit. The '80s and '90s in Washington Heights, man. What was it like growing up there, and how did you guys get introduced to the game of basketball?
Well, it was actually my older brother that introduced us to everything. Like he introduced us to hockey. He introduced. We used to play hockey at our house. He used to put pillows on us and try to. And me and my brother would compete. Who's the better goalie? And he'll be just whacking socks at us, trying to And then I was big on football. That was my first love, to be honest with you. But there's not a lot of places in Washington Heights where you could just go and play, tackle football. So we learned basically playing in the corners on crates, you know, We played on crates, and we just found a natural love for it. It was something to get us away from, the dangers of the streets, and then once we figured out that this is something that can help us continue to move forward in our lives, we just, never let it go, and it was just great to see, at one point my brother was like around 5'11", and next thing you know, he's 6'5", and remember the first time he caught a dunk on a layup in the layup line in Riverbank,
Mm,
oh shit, I thought I could jump. This guy could fly. So no, but it's great. The journey was early, but it was special.
of course, man. Like, how do you think that your background and upbringing in the Heights impacted your approach to life as well as basketball?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, back in the day was way different than now, man. Back in the day, we didn't have. I mean, you had the internet, but the internet was brand new, right? Most of the time, you spent the whole day outside. Not a lot of people doing that these days. Not a lot of kids are spending their day outside. And to Rick's point, like we play sports depending on the season. Like right now, we would have been out in the streets playing football because it's football season. A little bit of baseball, football. You know what I mean? And then for me, it's like the sport chooses you. And I think that growing up in the Heights with so much support, so many people around you, when they see there's potential there, and there's something there, I think that the Heights embraced us, and I mean it's a community, but it's a family too, man. And if people embrace you and they know that you're doing good and you want to do good and you want to go far, they're gonna embrace you and they're gonna push you and they're gonna support you, man. So we have a lot of family, man, and not just blood family, but the heights is in our heart, man, and we carry it wherever we go.
Oh yeah, man. I know it well, man, because I've been in the stands of the Dykeman basketball when the Timbales is out. They got the
Yeah,
what I'm saying, they got the drums out. They doing they really represent for their people, man. And definitely salute to everybody up there in the Heights. And it's a family atmosphere over everything. But
yeah.
tell me about if you guys know, I'm pretty sure you do, the Peligro tournament, right?
Woo,
Tell me a
man.
little bit about the Peligro tournament, um, and the local tournament. You got Dykeman is the obvious home court, but the local tournaments and what role did the community in Washington Heights play in supporting the young athletes during the time that you guys were growing up?
Well,
You want to take
first
this one?
off,
Or you want me to go?
shout out to Peligro and the best sandwiches uptown. Them sandwiches was murder when we was growing up. But I remember vividly that the first time I actually played in the Peligro tournament, we had a team from my own block, 177. One of the guys that wanted to play in the tournament, Smooth, was like, "Yo, you guys are in high school. I'm gonna bring you to this tournament. It's Peligro, and we've heard of it, but we're ninth graders, 10th graders, and we like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna come play." So it was a bunch of like young high school dudes, right? My brother was still young, and we had a really good team at George Washington at the time. So
Yeah.
we had Mo, Eddie Lopez, Nelson. So we had a nice little crew. So we went in there. We were like, what, F it. Like I don't care. We playing against grown man. We didn't really care. We just hooping. But the atmosphere that was Dykeman before Dykeman, in my opinion. You know, when you had peoples in the roofs, you had people on the fences. You had people trying to get in and out of this place where it was so small, but it was just a great environment where you was like, man, I love this. I want to do this more you know. And then the excitement, you see these young Dominican kids out here balling against Flavor Unit, against all these teams from across the city. Like, man, these boys could play, and it gave our community joy to see, these young bucks out here competing and playing, and and all of a sudden now we get recognition not only, you know, in high school, but in the street, from that's so and so, man. I saw you play yesterday. Great job, To the next game, you got more people coming, and you got more people coming, and now all of a sudden you got man, we got a bunch of people here. We got to perform now because if not, we can get embarrassed real quick, So, I think, in my opinion, that's what started street basketball in the Heights. You know, you had Around the Bend, which was right behind G Dubs. But in my opinion, Peligro was the first real tournament that I played in that I was like, man, you know, I like this. I like the environment. I like the people out here enjoying something, you know, because there wasn't a lot to enjoy, you know, when you have so much struggle and poverty throughout the city that you can go out there, watch a basketball game, and, you know, for those 2 hours, 3 hours, everybody's just having a great time. So in my opinion, I thought, shout out to Peligro one more time. He's the one that actually, in my opinion, started my journey into playing in New York City street basketball.
Definitely, man. Jeff, do you have any
Yeah,
Peligro stories that you want to tell?
yeah, man. Like to 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 touch on what Rick was talking about, man. Peligro was I was the young buck, right? So I was the one that was tagging along, right? I was younger than everybody, so I was tagging along. So for me, and I don't know if you guys remember, Rick. I don't know if you remember, but for me, Around the Bend and Peligro, that was my NBA. The NBA was so far fetched. Playing pro basketball was so far fetched growing up in the Heights
Right.
that those tournaments was my NBA. That was my time to play in front of all my people and do something. You know what I mean? Like, and I grew up watching around. I didn't play around the bend. Rick probably played a couple of games. I never played there, but I remember watching Bakachai and all those, like those dudes. You know, Strick, rest in peace. Like all those dudes dominate, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get on that court. And that was our NBA because you remember back in the day we didn't have internet. You couldn't just hop on your phone and look up highlights. You couldn't do that. You couldn't see what people was doing across the country just by watching your phone or watching Instagram or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so that was real life NBA for me. That was the goal. That was the goal. That was what trained us. It got us ready for real. So much love to Polito. Much love to Rick. By the way, Saint said what's up. He commented on one of the something I put on Instagram. He said to tell you. He said hi.
Nah,
Um,
it's crazy. Like you said, Cholo, you're absolutely right. Like you mimic them dudes.
yeah, man,
You had
that was
MJ.
immediate. Guys that
You
we looked
mimic.
up to was like, I want to play. I want to
Yo,
play like him.
You saw strict what he did the other day. You saw that?
Yeah.
Like,
You see
yo,
how
I'm
he
gonna
had the
work on
crowd going
that.
crazy? Like all that stuff. Like that's what we saw on the daily. Like we couldn't jump on our phones and see that on our phone. There
Right.
was no such thing. That was it. So it was come out your house, you playing basketball, or somebody playing around the bend. All right, let's walk up there. Let's jump on the bike and go up there and watch them play. That was our NBA.
Yeah.
So that was for real though.
Nah, for real, man. Hey, I wish I was, up there at that time. It sounds like a electric atmosphere, to say the least.
Yeah.
But let's fast forward just a little bit to high school, man. You guys took two different paths, obviously. To anybody that knows you guys, Ricardo, you went to G Dubs, George Washington High School. Later, you went to Cheshire Academy. Jeff, you went to Cardinal Hayes. What kind of motivated you guys to attend these schools, and how was your high school experience as far as basketball is concerned? Do you think?
Yeah, I was. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't the greatest student in the world, and that was my only choice. You know, and all my friends that I went to junior high school with were going there also. And I remember, at that time, Cesar Sanchez, who in my opinion is one of the best players I've ever took the court with in my life. He was already there. So I've known,
Shout
I
out
knew,
to Emo.
I knew Mo for a while, because we've always competed when we were younger. I had Carl Blaze up there, rest in peace to Carl Blaze. He was there also. So I've known these guys for a while. And, you had John Coelho, Eddie Lopez. And, when I got there, they was like, yo, you need to come on the team. So mind you, I'm a freshman, and, me and Nelson walk up to middleman's office and I go to him, hey, we want to be on your team. And he goes, well, you have to try out for JV. And I'm like, nah, you need both of us on your varsity team. And, he was like, yeah, you got to come to tryouts. I'm not sure if you guys are good enough to play, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I told Nell, I said, yo, Nell, just remember when we go to tryouts, you got to ball, man. You got to ball out, man, because you got so many dudes out here trying to make the team. He was like, all right, all right, all right. So we go to tryouts, and they got this kid that was a transfer from Park West, 6'7". Good. He was phenomenal. He kicking everybody's ass, right? Excuse my language. And the tryouts finish, and middleman goes, "You guys are good, but we'll see." And this kid actually was going to be the guy that they chose, and he fails out. Like something happens, and he didn't attend school. So middleman goes, "Okay, you guys are in. You two guys are in." And from there, it was a wrap. Like I think I was like the first freshman. I'm not 100% sure that started on that varsity team that lost 2 city championships. My freshman and sophomore year. But it was just a journey because you were doing it with people that you grew up with.
Right.
That we were real tight. Like after games we hung out. Before games we hung out. We took the train to games. We took the trains back home. And, at that time my mom had passed away, so them guys stayed in my house, slept over at the house. Like we were brothers, man. To this day, we're still brothers. And for me, I always looked at it as this is a way for me to be able to, get out. And I'm gonna do everything I can in my possible power to be able to take this tool and use it to help me become the best version of myself. And at that time, you had so many other distractions that, that's what my brother just said earlier, where, you had a lot of people that embraced us and wanted us to do well. So all the negative things that were happening around us, they kept it away from us. Like, nah, you can't do that. You need to go home. Or, nah, you need to go to school. Like, yo, here's $20, yo, go to school. You need some money for food. You need some money for this. Because they didn't want us to go down that same road. And, I'm forever grateful for that because it could have been totally different for me and my brother. But, that's why there's so much love and respect for the community in itself because they embraced us like never before.
That's a fact. How about you, Jeff, man? With Cardinal Hayes, how was your high school experience? What made you go there? And you know what I'm saying? Like, tell me about your experience trying to go to Hayes and play ball.
So, man, this I'm gonna try to keep it short, but it's a long
Yeah,
story.
I know.
So, it's gonna start with my peoples, with my clan, my crew, the twins, Pops, Geo, Froggy, all my peoples, Jimmy, everybody back in NY and around. So we started, I think 8th grade. We joined this AU team that was traveling around the whole city because this coach Al Morales, shout out to Al. Al Morales came through and put a team together at St. Elizabeth's in the 8th grade, and I think Mikey coached that team for a little bit. I've seen some pictures or something. He was coaching that St. Elizabeth team, that St. East team for a little bit. So he put us together, and then he had this AU team that was traveling around the city, right? So we played at Millbank, all the spots, Riverbank, everywhere. We was playing everywhere, right? And so I see we played Ron Ron. Back then he was Ron Ron.
Right.
Back then. Now he's meta, right? But back then he was Ron Ron, right? So we see Ron played against them a couple of times. We played, when you going around playing in the city, you play against the same people all the time.
Right.
Every single tournament, you meet the same people all the time. So we see Ron and we played against him. Now I know him, right? We at Riverbank, and that weekend or that weekend or that Monday morning, I was supposed to take a test to go to school with Ron at LaSalle Academy. So I was supposed to go to school at LaSalle with Ron, right? With Ron, right? So the day of the test, I take the train down there. It's somewhere down in the village, LaSalle, somewhere down there, right? I take the train and I get off the train, right? And I'm walking out of the train station. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Now, right, I walk right back onto the train. I go back uptown.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not doing this, right? Then one day I'm playing on the block, and my coach comes and he's like, hey, you got to come with me. We're going to Cardinal Hayes. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, we're going to go meet the principal of Cardinal Hayes. That's where you're going to go to school. And I was like, okay. So we went out there. Hayes, my boys, the twins, they were supposed to go to Rice High School because the coach at Rice liked them. And then we all played. We was all good. Pops was supposed to go to Hayes already. He was already set. So I was like, man. So we all got together. It was like, yo, why don't we just all go to the same high school? So we all went. We tried to freaking talk Rick into it. We talked Rick into taking the placement test to go to Hayes with us. And he was like, nah, I'm gonna go to Doves or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So we all took the placement test to go to Cardinal Hayes. We all, we did what we needed to do. He was like, all right.
Hold, before he keeps going, I failed the test, man.
Hey, nobody
they didn't let me in. I could have been a great alumni, but they didn't let me in.
Yeah, man. So that's how it happened. I wasn't even supposed to go to Hayes. My boys, the twins, weren't supposed to go to Hayes. Pops was the only one, and probably Gio and Froggy was supposed to, the only ones that were supposed to go to Hayes. And then we just all got together and was like, yo, why don't we just all go to the same school? Forget Rice, forget LaSalle, let's just all go to the same school and do our own thing and play against everybody. And that's what we did. So we went to Hayes and we played against Rice and All Hallows and all St. Ray's and LaSalle and all them all throughout high school. And that was it, man.
Wow, that was a tough league, man. That was a tough league to really make your mark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
Um,
hey guys, before I forget, I just want to give a great shout out to Mr. Couch,
Yes.
the originator. You
salute.
know, he's the one that got me and my brother first start playing AAU basketball. If that's what it was called back then. You know, I just want to give him his flowers because, you know, he truly helped me and my brother, you know, go out there. Rick Nurse, who coached us, you know, and like he said, Al Morales, who helped us, you know, with situations like taking my brother to Hayes and getting me to Cheshire Academies and Mr. Couch. So I just want to make sure that they know how much we appreciate them also.
And when you want to talk about legends, Mr. Couch.
Mr. Couch is a legend.
Legend. So I
Straight
just
legend.
want to make sure that people know that he's an amazing human being, and
Yes.
I appreciate him heavy.
And he's still out. He's still out there doing his thing too.
Love it.
For real. But like, what? All right. So like, so Jeff, out of the schools, like when did like the schools start recruiting you? What did that high school recruiting start look? I mean, college recruiting start looking like, and what made you kind of select Rutgers out of those schools that were looking at you?
So I wasn't really highly recruited out of high school. I was kind of a late bloomer. Like Rick said, I grew, I think like 6 or 7 inches over like a 6 month span, over a summer, basically, right? And so I started getting recruited late, but I remember it vividly. We went out to Providence to play in a tournament. Um, and we got out there back then. Uh, he was Sham God Wells back then. Before he changed his name to God Sham God, he was Sham God Wells. Was at Providence, so we met up with him, and we was talking whatever. We was playing the tournament. He came out to the game, whatever, and and I remember Rick threw me a lob from half court, and I caught the lob right in the tournament. And I was one of the younger people on the team, and there was a lot of scouts there. It was good competition, a lot of scouts there, and I was one of the younger ones. And from there, it just blew up. Once I got back from that tournament, it blew up, and NC State started calling, Providence started calling. Iona was always on the radar. Like Iona was the first school to start recruiting me. Manhattan was a little bit there, a little bit, and Rutgers came in late. But the reason I decided to go to Rutgers was because I wanted to go away to school, but I didn't want to go away.
Yeah, you
Alone.
didn't want
You
to
know
go
what I
too
mean?
far.
So I didn't want to go too far because my sister, my mom had passed away. My sister had a young child that we helped raise and all that stuff. So I wanted to be around or be close enough to get there if I needed to and be helpful if she needed me. But I didn't want to go away. So I went to Rutgers on a visit, and I don't know if you ever been, but Rutgers is a campus. Like New Brunswick is a campus. It's like, what I mean? You don't feel like
I've
you
been to the rack
45 minutes away
before.
from the city.
Hey, the
So
rack
that was
is incredible. It was an incredible facility to play at, man.
Yeah, and the rack and everything, right? So I go through my first day of my visit, and I'm in the hotel room at night, and I'm calling Rick, like, yo, Rick had already committed to Pitt. He was already set, like he was good. And I called Rick, and I'm like, yo, he was like, yo, how was your day? And he was like, and I was like, yo, it was great, man. I love it here. Like, it feels like I'm not even close to the city. It feels like I'm halfway across the country. And he was like, that's good, that's good. And then one thing that stuck with me that night was right before he hung up, he was like, man, he was already at Pitt, right? So he was like, it would be great to play against you for 4 years.
Oh man. Yeah,
So
that
as
was
soon as he said that,
yeah.
I hung up the phone and I called Rob Lanier, who was recruiting me at Rutgers. He's at SMU now, right, Rick?
The head coach of SMU. Shout out to
Yeah.
Rob.
Shout out to Rob Lanier, man. Rob Lanier, great person, great coach, but more great person, right? So I called Rob and I was like, Rob, I'm in, man. I'm in. I'll sign tomorrow. As soon as Rick said that, he was like, yo, it'd be good to compete against you for 4 years. I was like, done.
That's tough.
the next day I was like, I'm ready. So we had this whole announcement. We told the head coach, like, yeah, he's coming. And that was it, man. It only took one day of me being on campus at Rutgers, and I was like, I'm in, man.
That's tough. That's a tough story, man. And now, Rick, I know that you had more of a tumultuous kind of time, in terms of high school, with your transfer to Cheshire Academy, which we spoke about a little earlier. I was at Salisbury at the time, around that same time, so I kind of know what you were kind of going through at that school. But in terms of like recruiting, at Cheshire Academy, were you already locked in with Pitt way beforehand, or
Nah.
did that happen there?
So it's funny because when I got to Cheshire, like the first week, I called my sister and said I want to come home, and my sister was like, "There's no way in hell you coming home. You're going to stay there. You're going to finish what you know."
Hey,
And
Rick, before you go further, Kyle, none of this interview, none of this is possible without my sister.
big facts,
And that story, people know that story, but they don't really know that story.
Right.
But none of this is possible without her. Go ahead, Rick.
big facts, and that's probably the realest thing that will probably be said in this little podcast right now is that she was the anchor of the whole shit, So shout out to my sister, love you, and but she told me I'm staying, so at that time I was getting recruited by the top schools in the country, and I remember me and my brother got invited to at that time it was ABCD camp, and I had Kobe Bryant, Chasey McGrady, Deion Glover. You had them all. You had them all, man. Khalid El Amin. You had everybody, the top of the top. And I'm having a hell of a tournament. I'm playing my tail off. I'm out there. I'm like, I can't wait to make this top 20 team. I'm like, I don't know what else to prove. And, stupid decisions, led to me not being picked in the top 20, because at that time at ABCD camp, you had to go to classes to be able to play in the All-Star game.
In the morning, yeah.
In the mornings, every morning you had to go to class. So I missed one class, and the teacher said, well, if you miss one class, you can't play. And I'm like, okay, but, I'm not taking it to heart because I'm like, there's no way in hell they're going to not let me play. And I always tell the kids that I coach now, minor decisions can impact you know, future days in your life, because I lived through it. So I can actually tell them, like, I'm not just telling you because, I'm just want to tell you a story. I lived through all that. So I'm trying to help you be the best version of yourself and not make the same mistakes I've made. And, but yeah, though, so we playing in the championship game. In the loudspeaker announced the top 20 players that are making the All-Star game. And I'm waiting for my name. I'm like, and my name doesn't get called, so I'm disappointed. That's the year that T-Mac windmilled on the kid, and his name was like, he went from nobody to the number one player in the country in 3 days. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was a hell of a wow. But, long story short, I got back to the hotel, and at that time, Felipe Lopez, shout out to Leap, everybody has Michael Jordan and Kobe and LeBron. That's my muse. Felipe Lopez is my Michael Jordan. That's who I looked at and said, I want to be him. That's my Mike right there. So, I remember Anthony Lopez were looking for me because my sister's like, where's my brother? Where's my brother? But I was in the hotel room because I was so disappointed. I got back to the Heights, and my sister was like, yeah, you got like 50 different coaches that have been calling you nonstop. And I'm like, who's called the most? I just told her just like that. I ain't going to even lie to you. I said, who's called the most? And she said, well, Pitt's called the most. And I said, okay. So I got on the phone, called, and I was like, I'm coming to Pitt. That's how I committed to Pitt. And, never looked back, and, I really appreciate, my 4 years there. I appreciate my 2 years at Cheshire. It grew me to who I am today. And more importantly than everything, the numbers, the accolades is great. But like my brother said earlier, I got to play and compete against my brother for 4 freaking years.
Yeah.
4 years. And I think I think he got more wins than I did, which to this day still freaking haunts me.
Don't get it twisted. Don't
You
get
know,
it
to this
twisted.
day,
I'm gonna win.
but it's crazy though, because that's like everything was great, but the highlight was being able to compete against my brother for 4 years, and that was just to this day, man. You can't make that up.
That's an incredible. I don't have any siblings, but I could imagine, throughout your entire journey, and we're gonna talk about, you know, when you guys linked up in France also, but in terms of like linking up with your brother Big East, they were at that time the Big East conference was probably the best conference in the country, and for you guys to face off at a Big East game, Pitt versus Rutgers is an incredible feeling that being on the opposite side with your brother. So salute to you
God,
guys for that.
God, let me share this story real quick.
Yeah,
First game we played against each other, right? First game, right? So we got busloads of people coming up, and people. I'm telling you, family, right? People supporting, and you got the guidas going, tambora, everything going in the stands. This dude right here, Rick, I'm trying to cut baseline. He chucks me like,
Like the
chicken wings.
first 15 seconds of the game.
15 seconds of the game, foul on Rick. He turns to me. He's like, "Welcome to the Big East." But he a freshman, and I'm a freshman. We both freshmen, right? He's like, "Welcome to the Big East." I look at him like, "Bro, you a freshman like me." So I already knew. I was like, it's gonna be 4 years of this. 4 years of this. I'm loving it. Let's go.
I
Let's
had
do
to
it.
hit him. My whole thing was, and the competitive juices flow. You ain't my brother right now.
right.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to bust your ass. We might have the same last name, our blood, but nah, and I was like, I'm gonna send a message. I'm gonna send a message to him. He looked at me like I was crazy,
My
and the
coach wouldn't
dudes
let
on
me
my
guard
team
Rick.
looked at me like I was crazy. But
My
they was
coach
like,
wouldn't let me guard him. He was like, "Nah, you can't guard like this." I was so hyped for the game. He was like, "Nah, you got to go on somebody else." And I was like, "But I know him. I know what he likes to do." He was like, "Nah, go on somebody else."
I could fast forward and tell you this. So our first time ever playing together pro in Europe. First, it was like the first or second practice, right? So the coach puts us on opposite teams, right?
It's funny.
So he puts us on opposite team. And mind you, like the starting two guard and the starting three from last year's team is still on the team. So one of them passes it, and my brother gets in the passing lane and steals it. So I start running. And he gets them two legs planted. He's gonna dunk on somebody. So he gets the two legs planted. He goes up in the air to dunk it. And I look like Ronnie Lott in the air. Took him out. I'm talking about took him out in the air. Just, whoosh, bah. We rumbling
And I'm
into the floor.
expecting it.
Huh?
I expected it.
What'd you say?
I expected it too. I knew it was coming.
Hitting the floor. We fall on the floor. We're like, the coach is blowing the whistle. The guy that started last year goes, "Oh my God, that is his brother. What is he going to do to me?"
HP.
After that, they knew for a fact that these boys don't play around. Like these
Yo,
dudes.
it was a no layup rule.
It was a no layup rule. Like you ain't gonna go in here. He's like them dudes. After that, they were like these dudes are out of control. These two brothers are out of control. But yeah, the Big East at that time was the real deal.
Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough story right there. I mean that was probably stewing from years and years of growing up challenges and what I'm saying, that sibling rivalry that you have to try to get, you try to push each other and get
Rick,
each other
Rick tried to
better.
take it back to the crates. He tried to take it back to the crates. That's what he tried to do.
No, but it's crazy though because we in college we used to every game we played at Pitt we won. Every game I played at the Rack I lost. One year we played each other in the Big East tournament, and these dudes are playing West Virginia before we play, and West Virginia was top 10 in the country. So I'm in the elevators going down in MSG, and that's like a surreal feeling. Like there's no other feeling than playing in Madison Square Garden. And I'm walking down, and you hear the crowd going crazy. Ah! And I'm like, what happened? What happened? One of the security guards come out and go, yeah, the Greer kid. He looked at me, he goes, your brother. just thumped on somebody so hard. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking
Oh man,
and I'm just like, we got to play them next if we win. And I'm just like, man, like win the game because being able to play against your brother in the best arena in the world is like something else. Like win, lose, or draw doesn't matter.
right.
It's just like I'm playing against my brother. Like Patrick Ewing played here, but not King. That's what these dudes played at. So it was just it was a great feeling. I think we ended up in our 4 years of college as the number one, if I'm not mistaken, brother tandem all-time scorers in Big East history as brothers.
Yeah, that got to be a fact. That
Yeah,
has,
so which is pretty cool.
that's awesome, man. That's crazy for you guys to have that experience, man. I'm really, what I'm saying, I'm happy that you guys got that experience. But yo, Jeff, so like in terms of challenges, man, that you faced during your college career, what I'm saying, what were some of those challenges, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Damn, you throwing them out tough, huh?
Hey man, hey, I do this, man.
I mean, college. Just let's be clear, man. College, being a college athlete is not easy. I don't know. I know people think it's easy. You get to travel, you get to play, you do all this fun stuff, you get a whole bunch of gear, but it's not easy. It's not easy being an athlete. Period. It's not easy being an athlete. So there was a lot of challenges at school. Um, One of the things that I look back now as a grown adult is the fact that uh, for me, I was an introvert when I was in college. I wasn't as like I always stuck to myself. I was a visual person. I always looked and learned visually, right? And I didn't talk much. I mean, Rick spoke a lot. I never spoke. I was quiet. Um, and I think that was a challenge for me in college because I feel like I should have been a little bit more vocal. I should have took the reins a little bit more, especially when I was a junior, senior in school. I should have been a little more vocal as to what I wanted to do and take control of my career. Now you got these kids, by the time they're 13 and 14, they got NIL deals, they in control of their brand, they on the socials, like they're pushing their stuff, right? Back in the day, that was non-existent. You know what I mean? So you just went by what the coach is telling you, what your academic advisor is telling you, and all that stuff. So I feel like one of the challenges for me was because I didn't have the experience in doing it. Nobody did it before me. There was nobody to tell us how to navigate college or how to navigate being an athlete in college. Yeah, you had Philippe, but Philippe was doing his own thing. We were playing against Felipe Lopez when he was at St. John. So he was doing his own thing, and he was trying to figure it out himself because he had his own thing he was doing, right? So I never had somebody to kind of like really mentor you and let you know, like, kind of like stay away from this, go this way, or try this or this and that. So you kind of had to like figure it out yourself. And I feel like me being the way I was, I really didn't push it the way I could have, if that makes sense.
In retrospect,
Like that, I feel like I could have done more, and the reason I didn't do more is because of just the way I was. I was just a quiet kid, man, a quiet kid that just wanted to play ball and love basketball, love sports.
hey, that's like a lot of people go through that, man. They don't have the guidance, and we just trying to all figure it out on your own. And you know what I'm saying. And in retrospect, is the only time when you really get to see, oh man, I should have did this or I should have did that. But I'm sure you have no regrets.
No regrets, man. No regrets. The only regret is I wish I would have won more games against Rick.
Yes.
Hey Rick, man, can you tell me about your transition from college basketball now to playing internationally, and what was the biggest difference between the two?
Yeah, my first year playing basketball professionally was in Ukraine. So when you talk about different,
Mm,
different. So, I went out, when you're a college athlete, you got a lot, like my brother said, you got a lot of stuff that's handed to you that on an everyday basis, syllabuses, academic advisors, where you have to be on a consistent basis. When you turn pro, it's you. Ain't nobody waking you up, ain't nobody telling you got to be here, and if you're not there, you're either getting fined or fired. That's just the reality of it. So, you know, like my brother was saying, this is like a second chance for me as a coach, being able to help these young men because I've seen it, I've gone through it, and I've lived it. So it's trying to help them not make the same mistakes and grow from it, you know. And as young adults, you know, they got so much more pressure, they have so much more outlets right now that it's a lot harder, in my opinion. So trying to be a should I say like a soundboard for them, you know, and them understanding, yeah, wherever you want to go, I've been there. Wherever you've been, I've seen it.
Right.
Now I'm trying to help them. But that first year in Ukraine, oh baby, that was different. That was different. Went to a country, you know, where, you know, it was hard because, you know, there wasn't a lot of color over there. So, you know, it was real different. You know, they treated us really well. You know, the basketball was different. I remember it was like yesterday playing CSKA Moscow. You know, it was like an exhibition like before the season starts, and we in Latvia. And I'm looking across, you know, they got Andrei Kirilenko and all these guys, but I don't know who Andrei Kirilenko is. You know, I don't know none of these Russian dudes. I know they're 6'7" point guard, 6'8" shooting guard. But I'm like, you know, I'm from the Heights. You know, ain't none of these dudes better than me. You know, I don't care who they are. That ball tipped up, man. That's when I realized I got to get better. That's when I knew, like, the world is good. You know, we just don't see it. Now you see it because it's expanded. And you have it all in your face through the internet and social media. But before, we didn't know that these Russian dudes out there that were 6'7" or just as athletic as you, but they were just more fundamental too. So I remember we got our butts kicked, man. We lost by like 40, you know. And at first, you know, you got to fear for your job because at the end of the day, if you ain't playing well, you like. And I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God. I got to get better. That was the first thing that came to my mind after that butt kicking was, I got to get better because if I don't get better and I don't figure out how to play this style of basketball, I won't be playing professional basketball very long. So I got to find a niche on how to be the best version of myself. And, you know, the one thing is I always played hard and I try to be a dog. But, yeah, that's fine. But there's something else you got to bring to the table. And it was just shell shock for me. But, you know, once I got adapted and acclimated to the style of play, you know, it was harder for me to play in the States than it was to play in Europe because over there it's so much more fundamentally sound and, you know, guys passing the ball. There's not a lot of one-on-one. You know, guys are able to read the game and pass the ball and take the right shots and all that you started to realize, okay, this is how you're supposed to play the game and this is how you're going to be affected. So once I got that learning curve, you know, it was better. But that first month, oh, I said, these dudes are going to fire me. I'm never going to play professional basketball again. I'm done. I'm going home. I got to find a job, you know, but it was good because you got to see different style where now it's the style.
Right.
Kyle, let me, can I expand on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that was Rick, you ain't touch on it. That I thought was big when I got overseas because I had my call my sister moment when I got overseas. So first 2 weeks that I was overseas, I'm in a small town called Vichy, France, and there's nothing. The only thing they have in that town is basketball, right? Every Saturday night, everybody in the town, it's not even a city, it's a town, is at the games. Everybody, right? So one of the things that I had to get used to was in college at Rutgers, you play to win, right? So you playing, you moving the ball, you trying to play team basketball and all that stuff, right? When you get over there, especially back in 2001, 2002, there was only 2 Americans per team. 2, right? Now there's anywhere from 4 to 5, depending on country you go to. There's people that have passports. So you have way more people out there. So you think about it, there's 2 Americans per team, and there's 20 teams in the league. There's only 40 Americans if the team has 2 Americans, right? There's only 40 Americans in that country playing basketball, right? So you got to go. They expect you to go. And I wasn't that type of player when I got to Europe. I was the pass the ball, let's get the good shot. I'm open, I'm going to knock it down, right? After maybe a month over there, I get a call from my agent. He's like, yo, I get it. You're trying to win games, but they need you to score. You need to go after. You need to go after it, and that's all he had to say. After that, I wasn't passing gas. I wasn't passing the note. It got to the point where dudes was getting rebounds. The vets on my team were getting rebounds in the paint, dribbling it out. It was like, here, take this, shoot the ball. They was telling me shoot the ball, like, but that's how you had to do it because it was only 2 Americans.
Yeah, I got a great taste of that. A great taste of my European Jeff, European Cholo.
Yeah,
I got an up close and personal European Cholo, and it wasn't pretty.
and a lot of people that watched me play in high school and college, they would have been surprised to see me play in pro. They would have been surprised to see me. My first couple years,
Like, who's this guy? Who's this
yeah,
guy?
it was a different me. Like I was just like, yeah, it was different me. It was different. It was different. But yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. You talk about
European Cholo was different.
yeah, you talk about the language, you talk about the food, you're talking about living on your own. Like you talk about simple as this, right? Standard cars, like gears. Like you got to learn how to drive a manual car. There's a lot of people that go to Europe and go back home because they can't drive their car. They can't get it up a hill. Like all that, it's just an adjustment, man. And it's not easy. And you got to play. You got to score and produce and win.
Even with the cultural difference with the foods and the, just the language alone. How were you guys able to navigate that in terms of the language barrier and just kind of how long did it take you to kind of fit in and to get adjusted to that aspect of being on your own?
I'm gonna go first, Rick. Let
You
me
got
go
it?
first. I'm gonna be quick. So I don't like to make mistakes.
It was interesting because our coach, my first coach in France, actually spoke English. So the guys on the team. That's another thing I'll say that those the people, the teammates, they were actually really cultured. Where they spoke some English, so they made it a little easier for you as far as fitting in, and understanding the way they did things and stuff like that. So it was a lot easier to be able to navigate through that, you know. But when you went to the stores, you had to point at the stuff that you wanted. How much is that? And I used to have my TV on French with English subtitles, so I could just understand some of the stuff. But I thought they were very welcoming and they helped us a lot. The coach would say something in English and then curse in French, and then give Rick the ball. So it wasn't that bad. It was
That's
actually
all you
pretty
gotta. That's all you gotta say is give Rick the ball.
facts.
Yeah, it's different. My coach ain't speak a lick of. He's a French legend, point guard legend. He didn't speak a lick of English. But Habib was from where? I think he was Lithuanian. He spoke English, and then my dog. Shout out to Rashawn Turner, FDU. Rashawn was there before I was, so he spoke a little bit of French, and he was our he was our go-to. So he helped me out a little bit, but it's not easy, man. Like Rick said, it's not a point. And I was an introvert. Like I was quiet. So for me, I was just learning. I was trying to absorb everything and point. I really didn't speak. I didn't speak till 6 years into Europe, 7 years. I didn't speak a lick of French, but I understood it. But I didn't speak not one word, but I understood it because it wasn't in me. Rick was speaking his first year in France. He was trying to speak French. It was mixed with a little bit of Spanish, but he was good.
So who got the better French?
All sounded the same.
My French is way better than Rick's right now.
Cat. That's what these young boys say, cat.
And so you guys, this is right here. This is the part where, what I'm saying, this is like the culmination of it, right? For me, I want to know, how the hell did you guys end up on the same team, and what kind of mentality, was behind that championship run in France that you guys had together?
And I'm gonna start this one because I had to bribe him. I had to literally bribe him. So I was in London playing, and I came back to France for the playoffs. Right, he was already in the Le Havre, and we had played against him before the playoffs hit, and then I went and I was speaking to his coach because his coach was actually about to take this job on a bigger team. And my brother was in France the whole year. He was having a hell of a year, had an amazing year. And the coach was calling me, saying, "Hey, I want you and your brother to play together. I think you guys would be great." So when I got back for the playoffs, my team went to the championship and we lost in the championship game. And he called, he said, "Hey," he had just taken the job. He said, "I want you to sign. I want your brother to sign also." So he said, "I've been trying to call Cholo, but he had the number one team in France. It was a EuroLeague team that was about to pay him buku bucks that wanted him bad." And they was like, "Yo, we want him." And I remember I said to him, I called him and I said, "Yo, listen, I'm about to sign this contract. And the only thing I'm gonna tell you is I don't know if we will ever have an opportunity to do this again, you know. And I would love to play with you. I don't want to keep fucking playing against you. I'm tired of it. I wanna be able to enjoy each other's company, and I think it'll be great." And I said, "But I'm not gonna force you to do anything you don't want to do, because at the end of the day, if that money's there, go get that money, But I would love to do this with you." So I signed my contract that afternoon and sent it back. And then, what was it, like a day later?
Yeah.
2 days? 2 days later, something like that. He goes, "Yo, I'm coming." And I remember him telling me the GM of the other team said, "This is the biggest mistake you ever make in your life."
Yeah, the GM of the team that wanted to sign me, I called him just to be courteous and be like, "Yo, I'm going to sign with this other team, right? I just want to let you know so it comes from me so you don't hear it from nobody else." And he was like, "Yo, this is the biggest mistake. This is the biggest mistake you're going to make in your career," and hung up the phone on me.
Mind you, we beat that butt in the first round of the playoffs. Spanked them.
We beat him by like
Bad.
40.
And I
And I
said,
told him, I was like, "Look, we need to go at these dudes from the jump." It was like, it was bad. It was bad. That was the team. I don't know if you remember. That's the team that Boris Diaw played for before he went to the league. And
Michael Pietrus.
Michael Pietrus before he went to the league. That's the team they played on. So they were the best team in France at the time. And
I went to him after and I said to him, "I guess my brother's decision wasn't that bad, huh?" And the dude just walked right past me, and I said, because I was like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna do that." Like, no disrespect. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I'm like, when you say certain things like that, that sticks. That's just motivation.
Right.
So I was just like, well, there you go. And then we won that championship that year. We won our first championship in Europe.
Hey man, that was the picture that I posted that everybody went crazy for. What you guys are holding up the medals. Is that picture?
No, that's the first or the second one, Cholo.
That's the second one. That's not C.
That's the second one. That's the one that I almost my brother almost passed out in the championship game.
Hey man, we would be here. Literally, we would be here all day, man. If we ran down you guys' accolades, from Big East to international MVPs to all of that, man. We'd be here literally all day. But looking back, man, looking back on your entire journey, culminating up to those championships with together in France, um, you know, down from AAU high school, college, international pro, and doing that championship, man, with your brother. Like, so talk about the feeling that kind of overcame you at that time, man. With respect to it being your brother that you were able to accomplish these goals with.
Go ahead, Cholo.
So we in Paris, right? We grew up in the Heights. We grew up 177 Wadsworth. Shout out to FBI. 177 Wadsworth. We playing a championship game in the middle of Paris. That's way beyond what we ever thought we could do, right? So I remember we won the championship, and I go middle of the court, and I hug my brother, and all I can think about is my mom. So when my mom passed, that night, I remember me and Rick telling each other, like, "Yo, we're going to make mom proud. We're going to make her proud. Like, we can't be fucking up. We can't be in these streets. Like, we got to make her proud." And when I hugged him and I was like, "Man, I'm so proud of you and I love you," that's all I went back to was we doing something, and she's looking down and she's smiling. She's proud. And that was the feeling for me. Like, I had the first championship. I didn't have my family out there. Rick had his, I didn't have mine. So it was like That's what I went back to. All the people that helped us out throughout the journey. Shout out like the Heights, everybody in the Heights that pushed us. Shout out to the I forget what the police officer was. They used to kick us off the corner on the whatchamacallit, on the loudspeaker in the car, be like, yo, Cholo, get off the corner, you don't belong there, get home, don't you got a game? Stuff like that, all that stuff. Like, that's what I went back to. It takes so much, so many people, so much love, and so much, just so much for people to have those accomplishments. And there's nothing that I can say, there's nothing that Rick can say that's going to show that gratitude. That's enough to show that gratitude to the Heights, to my coaches, to my teachers in school, to my sister, to my boys, back home. I love you guys. I love you. There's no amount of gratitude that there's nothing I can say to show that gratitude. Just that I love you and I appreciate it. And it's all because of you. I hope I made everybody proud. I hope we made people proud. And that's all we try to do every day was make them proud. Make them proud and push the shit to the fullest.
Hey man, that's a fact, man. You guys did it. You know what I'm saying? And you guys did it together. There's no other way to say it, man. But playing internationally, and how did that, like, that whole playing, especially like representing your country, when you guys played together with the national team as well, or
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
that was beforehand, right?
No, we did during it also. We got to play with the national team, so that was great also to to represent our country, and like my brother said, like the journey is the most important thing out of it all. The accolades, the championships, those are great, you know, but without the journey, we never get to that place. Without people, you know that helped us, the people that believed in us, that piece of it becomes the motivation. That piece becomes the what you think about. And when you get to that mountaintop and you've won a championship, you reflect on the things that went through or what happened throughout your life that got you to where you're at now. Because one wrong turn or one day of hanging out could have changed your life drastically. And not saying that we were saints, because we weren't, but we were able to get out of a situation and make the best out of our situation and make a lot of people proud. So when you see young guys like Lou Flores after us, James Feldean, Edgar Sosa, you know, to name a few, that were able to go out there and carve unbelievable careers of their own, that in itself lets you know that what you did wasn't just for you. You had other people behind you that were able to do similar stuff and go out there and be successful. So, like my brother said, he said it best, like it was a village, it was the whole village that got us. So, for us right now, it's just being grateful and understanding that, all that was done because of where we're from.
Man, that's incredible right there, man. You said it all right there. Um, you know, I think the cherry on top, man, was the in terms of 2017, you were inducted into the French Professional Basketball Hall of Fame. Rick, did that? You know what I'm saying? Was that like a extra cherry on top? How did that feel? And tell me a little bit about that.
My brother was there with me. It's crazy because when I went down there, he played his last game also in France. And up to date, I think we're also the number one brother scoring tandem in the history of France, which is something that two boys from Washington Heights eating, mangou and salami, all of a sudden drinking wine and eating baguettes, or are legends in another country that you never ever in a million years could imagine. But that in itself was phenomenal. It's not done without that young man that's in this camera with me right now on this podcast, because a lot of it had to do with him being right beside me. And I was fortunate, to have him as my teammate. I was fortunate to have him, by my side, and you know, through thick and thin, no matter what was happening in my life, I always knew my young was always there for me regardless. So, you know, having accolades, like I said before, are great, but the most important thing is who you share those accolades with.
Yep.
And I shared it with the best basketball player I've ever ever played with, you know, every day. So shout out to Cholo because in my opinion, he's the greatest basketball player I ever got to lace him up with. So
Hey man, that's big, man. That's big, man. And
Keep lying to these people, Rick.
you lying to these people,
well,
Rick.
right now my favorite basketball player is my son,
There you
but
go.
the
Who
greatest
does he play
basketball
like?
player I played with is my brother.
That's hey man, that's incredible, man. And Jeff, like how important was it for you as your role as the little brother to earn respect from your big brother on the court? And when do you feel that you accomplished that?
So I gotta tell you a quick story. Rick is gonna deny it, but this is facts. We used to go to 143. Used to open up IS 143, right? Like nighttime. We used to have some runs up there, right? When I was young, and I remember Felipe was there, Caesar was there, Rick was there, everybody was there. These are my big dogs, right? And I'm the young one,
Yeah.
so I'm like, man, all these dudes here, right? So I was big on. I don't know if you've seen the highlight, but I was big on throwing the ball off the glass and dunking it, right? In game, not some dunk contest, in game, right? So we playing whatever, and I threw it off the glass and I dunked it, and I remember it as all three of them jumped, and I dunked it, right? So that's when that's when I knew when we was that was like the barometer, man. That was my measuring stick, like Caesar, Rick, like those guys. If I can compete and hold my own against them, then I was okay, right? I was okay. I can go out into the world and I can play against anybody else. It don't matter who the hell was in front of me. I was gonna go after them. So there was always my dangling carrot. That was them. It was always Philippe. Philippe was like Rick said, that was our MJ. That was our Mike. Like we was like, I wanna be like him. And then Caesar. Caesar was super gifted, like gifted basketball player. Rick was always a dog. And I was like, man, if I can hang with them, and then once I got 6'5" and I'm looking eye to eye with these guys, and I'm like getting stuff off, like, you know what I mean, and little moves here and there, I'm like, okay, I just got to keep working. I just got to get stronger. I just got to do this and that. So it was just that, man. Like they always been my barometer. They've always been my measuring stick. My measuring stick. Like how good am I? Or how good can I be? And when I went up against them, obviously you don't win them all. Nobody wins them all, right? You take your licks, but you get up and you keep going. And that's what it was, man. So I think it was that day. I was like, all right. After that dunk, it might have been my only 2 points of the night. After that day, I was like, all right, I'm here. I'm here. And now it's time for me to work on this and sharpen these tools. So the next time we're on the same court, I'm ready. But I think that was the day. And I don't remember, how old was I, Rick? How old were we?
You was young. You was probably
We were
15.
young. We were all young. I just don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Hey, I definitely want to be respectful of you guys' time. We winding down. I just had a few more, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
and Rick, man, you now over at Dayton as an assistant coach. You were responsible for recruiting now former Dayton Flyer and Indiana Pacer Obi Toppin. What does it mean to you to be a person in this role, and that where you can help and you can help a young person change their life and kind of be the person there guiding a person, help them succeed in their goals.
It's been great, I think, from my experiences and what I've been able to do in my career, in my life, especially, sitting in their seats, and seeing what they've been through already, and just building that trust factor with each and every one of them. It could be an Obi Toppin, it could be a Kobe Brer, who's from Washington Heights. and it's just that matter of giving them that confidence and helping them. I think that everybody sees O as the Indiana Pacer, but O worked his tail off when he came to Dayton. No one expected O to be a lottery pick, but once again, O worked his tail off. And he believed in what Coach Grant and the rest of our staff was telling him, and he persevered through a lot, but he was able to reach his goals. And everybody's not going to be a lottery pick, but it feels great for me to be able to you know, to help these young men. That for me right now in my journey is one of the more important things in my life, is being able to touch them and show them and be around through their journey, because, basketball's taken me throughout the world, and to be able to give back to them and show them and talk to them and build that confidence and trust, it's for me, it's second to none. So they always say you got to give back and pay it forward. So this is my way of paying it forward for my knowledge of what I've been through, and seeing him succeed and seeing him be the best version of himself. Phenomenal, phenomenal.
Nah, that's what's up, man. And lastly, man, I want to leave. I want to leave you with this, man, Jeff. Like, what legacy do you hope to leave behind for the next generation of basketball players from Washington Heights and beyond?
Man, another tough one, huh?
Yeah, man, I know you. I
By
know
the
you.
way, by the way, Cal,
Yeah.
thank you for giving them all the tough ones today.
Hey, man. Hey, when you just, this is just life in basketball, man. So I know
Hey,
that it's not tough. You just saying that, but you know, these
it,
are the
it
questions that people want to know.
honestly, the biggest thing, and I'm just gonna go back to when I was growing up in the Heights, and it was way different. We didn't have internet or anything like that. But the biggest thing that kids need to know is a lot of what's going on in the world now is geared towards people not working, people not putting in that effort and going after it. You got to get after it, man. You got to go for it, and no matter where you are, whether it be the Heights, whether you in wherever France, wherever you are, like you just gotta attack it, man, and don't expect things to just happen, and also don't be afraid to use the people around you. Not use them in a bad way, but just use them as a sounding board and get advice. Like I do some coaching now with my son and the young kids, and I tell them all the time. I'm like, look, I tell all the other coaches, I'm like, these kids are not going to remember the games and the championships or the lost games. They're going to remember the experience and what you teach them, right, and what they take forward. So for me, it's more of try to absorb everything you got and know that your neighborhood or your city or your state is not where you should limit yourself. There's a whole world out there that they can go out and explore. And whatever it may be, whether it's basketball, whether you're an artist, you're an engineer, you whatever, go out there and explore it. Experiences are way more important than anything else, man. Go have those experiences, man. And you learn way more from experiences than you do from anything else. So don't be afraid to step out there and do those things. Don't be afraid to leave your neighborhood. Don't be afraid to leave your state. Don't be afraid to go try things, because that's the way you learn, and that's when you know whether you like it or not. And that's what we did. I think we didn't stay stuck in the neighborhood, which we love tremendously. We love the Heights, but there's a whole world out there to explore. There's a whole world to share your love and your gift and your experiences with, and to share your neighborhood with. Because I take the Heights with me wherever I go. I'm wearing my sister's Live Life, her branded gear. I take wherever I go, man. I try to represent. I wear my Dominican Power shirt wherever I go. I had it in France with me. Like I try to share all that love, man, all that love with everybody. So don't be afraid to do that, man. That's what I would tell the youth is don't just think that these four walls or this neighborhood is all that there is. There's way more out there for everybody.
Hey, man, that's gold right there, man. And you know what I'm saying? This is what it's about, man. I really appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your schedules to come chop it up with me. Is there anybody that you'd like to shout out? I know there's a whole million people that you know what I'm saying? I don't want to have you miss somebody or whatever, but if there's anybody that you'd like to shout out and you know what I'm saying, show appreciation for, or show appreciation to, the floor is yours, man.
Can I go first before I forget? Shout out to my wife, Megan. Shout out to my kids that support me every day. Um, Shout out to my boys, Claudio, Jeff, Jimmy, Pops, Gio, my peoples. Shout out to my godmother, Nelfa. Shout out to all my coaches. I'm not going to name them all because I will forget them, and I don't want to leave anybody out. Everybody that's helped me and supported me. Shout out to anybody that's given me advice and helped push me along the way. I appreciate all you guys, man. You guys are amazing.
Rick, anybody you wanna salute?
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep it simple because I don't want to miss out on anybody. I'm just gonna say shout out to everyone. Love you all. I appreciate everyone's support. Shout out to my wife and my kids. But more importantly, like this right here for me is like you said, gold, because at the end of the day, man, I just wanted to just share the journey, because once again, the escalades are great, but the journey's more important than everything. So shout out to everyone. Shout out to you, Cal, and
Yeah,
appreciate
shout out to
everything
you,
you're
Cal,
doing.
man. Appreciate
Hey,
you, man.
For all these young men and people. This is big time, and I thank you for this opportunity.
I thank you
Yep.
guys, man. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, man, for giving me an opportunity to make history like this, man. I've been following you guys a long time. When you guys go to the street ball tournaments, the Dykmans, the Kingdoms, and things like that. So just having you guys on this platform with me, just talking about basketball and your journey is a full circle moment for me. So salute to you guys, man. Salute to your brother, your brotherly love. Shout out to your connection. And like you guys said, man, there's a whole generation of other guys coming right behind y'all. And I hope to be interviewing them when they go to France and these countries to go wreck shop with the basketball and everything like that. So again, salute to you guys, man. Thank you for taking the time out, and we out of here, man.
Peace.
Appreciate you, Cal.
Appreciate you guys.
Love you, Rick.
Love you too, young.
That was the Greer Brothers, y'all. I appreciate everybody, man, for tapping in with me. Legends Talk with the Greer Brothers, Jeff Greer and Ricardo Greer, man. Incredible, incredible people, incredible story. Um, you know, true role models for the people, for the kids out here, and they really inspirational in their story. So again, thank you for everybody that tapped in, that left a comment, that shared this live, that even showed me love. I appreciate everybody out there, man. Legends Talk. We'll be back next week with another one. Peace.